Have you ever wondered what it's really like to live deep under the ocean for weeks? No sunlight. No sound of waves. Just silence, darkness, and the crushing pressure of thousands of tons of water pressing on every side. That's the world of submarines. A submarine isn't just a war machine. It's a masterpiece of human engineering, a combination of science, survival, and sheer bravery. One small mistake in oxygen levels or pressure balance could turn it into a steel tomb lost forever in the deep. Most people think a submarine is just a ship that can go underwater. But the truth is, it's far more complex. It can dive hundreds of meters below the surface, stay hidden for weeks, and even fire missiles, all while keeping its crew alive in a space smaller than your living room. In this video, we're going to explore how submarines actually work, how they dive and float, how they move silently without being detected, and how the people inside survive in one of the most extreme environments on Earth. Because understanding how submarines work isn't just about machines, it's about understanding the limits of human courage and intelligence. Let's rewind a bit. The story of submarines started centuries ago, long before we had computers, engines, or even electricity. Back in the 17th century, an English inventor named Cornelius Drebbel built the first underwater boat. It was made of wood, covered with leather, and moved by hand-powered paddles. It could only dive a few meters, but it proved one thing: humans could go underwater and come back alive. Over the next 200 years, inventors kept trying. But most early submarines failed, crushed by pressure or unable to control buoyancy. You see, the deeper you go, the more intense the pressure becomes. Every 10 meters adds another atmosphere of pressure. At 100 meters, that's like 10 cars pressing down on every square inch of metal. Things changed during the early 20th century. During World War I and World War II, submarines became secret weapons. They could appear, attack, and vanish beneath the waves. A single torpedo could destroy a massive ship, turning the ocean into a silent battlefield. From that point on, submarines became not just weapons, but symbols of stealth, technology, and power. And today they're not only used for war, but also for research, rescue missions, and exploring places no human has ever seen before. Now here's the real question: how can a massive metal tube float and sink whenever it wants? The secret lies in something called ballast tanks. Think of a submarine like a giant fish. Fish have something called a swim bladder, which they fill or empty with air to go up or down. A submarine works the same way. When it wants to dive, it fills its ballast tanks with water, making it heavier. When it wants to surface, it pushes air into the tanks, forcing the water out, and it rises. It sounds simple, but it's actually a super delicate process. The balance has to be perfect. Too much water and the submarine sinks too fast. Too little and it can't stay underwater. Inside, computers and sensors constantly monitor depth, pressure, and balance. Even the weight distribution of people and equipment matters. If the front gets too heavy, the submarine tilts forward and could dive uncontrollably. This dance between gravity and buoyancy is what allows submarines to hover underwater, not floating up, not sinking down, just staying still in the silent blue. It's a perfect example of how physics and engineering come together in harmony. The deeper a submarine goes, the deadlier it gets. At 100 meters, pressure is 10 times stronger than at sea level. Go down to 500 meters, and it's like being squeezed by a mountain of water. To survive this, submarines use double hulls, an outer layer for shape and an inner layer, called the car pressure hull, to resist the crushing force. This inner hull is made from incredibly strong steel or titanium alloys designed to bend slightly but never break. You might notice that submarines are shaped like tubes. That's not just for looks. A round or cylindrical shape spreads pressure evenly, making it much stronger. If it were flat or square, the water pressure would collapse it instantly. Every submarine also has a maximum depth, called the crush depth. Go beyond that limit, and the entire structure could implode in seconds. It's terrifying but fascinating to think about how thin the line is between survival and destruction down there. Some research subs, like the Trieste and Alvin, have gone even deeper, over 10,000 meters into the Mariana Trench. That's deeper than Mount Everest is tall. Down there, it's pitch black and freezing cold, yet humans still dared to go. That's how far our curiosity can push us. Living inside a submarine is like living on another planet. There's no day or night, only artificial lights and the steady hum of machines. Every breath you take is recycled air. Oxygen comes from special systems that split seawater into hydrogen and oxygen using electricity. Carbon dioxide is removed by chemical filters. Humidity and temperature are carefully controlled so the crew doesn't get sick or tired too quickly. The space is tiny. People sleep in bunks stacked 3 or 4 high. They share bathrooms, eat pre-packaged food, and follow strict routines. There's no internet, no phone, and no sunlight, just the same metal walls every day. Psychologically, it's tough. Isolation, stress, and constant alertness take a toll. That's why submarine crews are trained not just physically, but mentally. They learn how to handle fear, boredom, and teamwork in the most extreme way possible. But despite the challenges, many submariners say it's the ultimate test of human endurance. It's not just about surviving underwater. It's about learning what it truly means to be alive when the world above has completely disappeared. Here's another puzzle. How do submarines know where they are if GPS signals can't reach underwater? They use something called hot inertial navigation, a system that tracks speed, direction, and time to estimate position. They also use sonar, which works by sending out sound waves and listening to the echoes that bounce back. There are 2 kinds of sonar. Active sonar, which sends a ping and listens for the return, but it reveals your position. And passive sonar, which just listens quietly. Military submarines prefer passive sonar because silence is survival. Modern submarines also use low-frequency communication systems to send short messages underwater, though the range is limited. That's why when a submarine goes on a mission, it can disappear from the world for months. No signals, no updates, just silence. And maybe that's the most mysterious thing about submarines. They represent the perfect mix of science, danger, and human courage. A machine built not to conquer, but to explore and survive where humans were never meant to be. If you enjoy stories like this, make sure to click subscribe and like to support the channel, and share it with a friend who loves learning new things. So what actually powers a submarine while it's deep below the surface for weeks, or even months? You might think it runs on regular engines like cars or ships. But that wouldn't work underwater because engines need oxygen, and oxygen simply isn't available down there. Most modern submarines use plug nuclear reactors as their power source. It sounds dangerous, but it's actually genius. A nuclear reactor heats water to produce steam, which spins turbines to generate electricity. That electricity powers everything, from the lights and oxygen systems to the propellers that push the submarine forward. The best part? A nuclear submarine can run for years without refueling. In fact, it's usually the food supply and the crew's endurance that limit how long it can stay underwater, not the fuel. Some subs can stay submerged for 3 months straight without surfacing. Before nuclear power, submarines relied on diesel electric systems. They used diesel engines when on the surface to charge massive batteries, and when submerged, they switched to electric motors powered by those batteries. The problem was batteries ran out quickly, forcing the submarine to resurface often, which was risky in combat situations. That's why nuclear propulsion changed everything. It gave submarines the ultimate advantage: unlimited underwater endurance and near-silent operation. Because under the sea, silence isn't just golden, it's survival. And that brings us to another key point: stealth. Every sound a submarine makes can give away its position. That's why even the propeller design is a closely guarded secret. Engineers spend years perfecting the shape so it produces the least amount of noise. A single unexpected vibration or metallic sound could mean detection by enemy sonar, and the end of the mission. When a submarine goes underwater, it enters a completely different kind of battlefield, one where high sound is the weapon and silence is the shield. Sound travels faster and farther in water than in air. That means even the tiniest noise, a dropped wrench, a creaking pipe, a shifting gear, can be detected miles away. So inside a submarine, everything is designed to be whisper quiet. Rubber mounts absorb vibrations, special paint reduces acoustic reflections, and crew members even move carefully to avoid making unnecessary noise. The ocean itself helps too. There are layers of water with different temperatures and densities, called thermoclines. These layers bend sound waves, creating blind spots where sonar can't easily detect anything. Skilled submarine captains use these layers to hide, diving deeper or shallower to escape sonar detection. Sometimes they'll even shut down engines completely and drift silently for hours, blending into the ocean's natural background noise. It's a mix of strategy, physics, and patience. You can't rush in the deep. You wait, you listen, and you move only when the moment is right. Stealth isn't just about technology, it's a mindset. It's about being invisible in a place where visibility doesn't exist. And that's what makes submarines so fascinating. They fight not with speed or firepower, but with the power of silence. Imagine this. You're one of 100 crew members inside a submarine on a classified mission. You've been underwater for over 2 months. The only connection to the outside world is through encrypted radio messages that come once in a while. Every person on board has a specific role: engineers, sonar operators, navigators, cooks, and even medics. Each shift runs 6 hours on, 6 hours off. It's a constant cycle of work, rest, and alertness. Sleep schedules blur, meals become routine, and the line between day and night disappears completely. When danger approaches, maybe an enemy sonar ping or a suspected torpedo, the atmosphere changes instantly. The entire crew goes silent. Lights dim. Orders are given in whispers. Every heartbeat feels louder than the machinery itself. A single decision from the captain, whether to dive deeper, change course, or remain still, can decide life or death. This is not like a movie scene. It's real. And it's what thousands of submariners around the world train for every day. Even though it's a machine, every submarine has a soul, made up of the people inside who trust it completely. They know the risk, but they also know the purpose: to protect, to explore, to push human limits where few dare to go. The submarines of tomorrow will be even smarter, quieter, and more independent. Some experimental designs are already testing AI-assisted navigation, allowing submarines to make decisions on their own in dangerous environments. There are also unmanned underwater vehicles, robotic submarines that can map the ocean floor or spy on enemy fleets without a single person on board. In the near future, hybrid energy systems using advanced fuel cells might replace nuclear power in smaller models. This would make submarines more eco-friendly and less dependent on large reactors. And then there's quantum navigation, a new technology that could allow submarines to know their exact position without relying on sonar or GPS at all. It's like giving them a sixth sense underwater. But even with all these advancements, one thing will never change: the ocean's mystery. It's vast, unpredictable, and full of secrets still waiting to be discovered. Submarines are our eyes into that darkness, machines that show how far humans will go to understand the unknown. The ocean has always challenged us to explore it, to fear it, and to respect it. And submarines are the perfect symbol of that balance between curiosity and caution. If you enjoyed this story about how submarines work, don't forget to click subscribe and like to support this channel, and share it with someone who loves learning about the hidden world beneath the sea.